The major news right now in China is the massive unrest that's occurring as a result of the major lockdowns that are occurring for COVID. China has this zero COVID policy in which there's going to be no COVID at all. One single little case has a massive, tremendous response. And I can certainly understand why they would want to go that route, because once it gets out, we've seen what happens. The Chinese economy alone lost hundreds of billions of dollars in lost production as a result of this getting out and making a lot of people sick. The problem is that these measures they're taking are extremely heavy-handed. And I would think that there are better ways of going about dealing with this. But it's not my country. I don't really get a say in it. I understand. What is really bothering me about it is the way that the Western media is portraying the protests against the tremendous lockdowns. Now, I've seen a lot of the footage coming out of China, not like from, the mainstream Western media, but from like the individual Chinese who are recording events and then putting it out on social media. They certainly do have a lot to be angry about. I mean, this is a very vicious lockdown that is very intense. So I think they very much have a reason to be angry. The problem, and they should protest against it because I do think that they are largely going too far. My problem is with the mainstream media coverage that's misrepresenting the situation. They're making it out like there's this massive uprising against the CCP, which, you know me, I'm not a fan of the CCP. I think it's entirely revisionist. It's not even Marxist at all. It's just capitalist. But they're making it out to be like it's this massive uprising that's going to, that wants to overthrow the government, when that's really not the case. This is just anger at the COVID restrictions. So what CNN does is they have this thing where they go out and go into the protests, find this one guy who says this is about overthrowing the CCP, and then makes it out like that's the entire protest movement. It's all about that, which isn't true. I mean, so what? I could go out to one of the yellow vests and find one Nazi there and claim that the whole thing is Nazis. You have to look at the substance of what it is they're protesting and what the majority of them are actually saying. So that's the way the media is misrepresenting this. They're trying to make it out to be this huge movement against the CCP when it's not. Many of them are just they're just calling for the end of the restrictions, and they're willing to fight over them, etc. I mean, to even think on even a most basic level, to think that the mainstream media is actually reporting China accurately is wrong. It's not even necessarily about being fair. It's about being accurate and twisting and lying in order to serve U.S. imperial interests. Now, given all that, I think the Chinese people are right to fight against the restrictions that are being put on them because of the COVID, because I think they go too far. But I'm not going to stand here and believe that this is all about overthrowing the Chinese government. And then they're saying things like, here's this guy we spoke to, and he's such a hero for talking up because the CCP just has people who disagree with the government killed. Well, then why did he appear on CNN without a mask? That doesn't make any sense. And if there's such banning of the Western media, how did you get into the protest to begin with? And then in the end, they said about 2 a.m. the police came in and forced the protest, riot, what have you, to stop. Okay, so basically every other country in the world? What are you even saying by this? This doesn't even make any sense. They're not even following through on their own logic to even make a cohesive story about demonizing the CCP. But you don't really have to worry about them, about the viewers of CNN, and by no means is it limited to them, really critically thinking about this. They're just going to instantly go China bad. So they're just going to believe it anyway. So I mean, it's very interesting to look at a lot of what's going on there right now and watching how badly the mainstream media is trying to twist this into something else. It is completely ridiculous to say that this is calling for the overthrow of the country, because it's just simply not true. It's complete nonsense. And once again, a reminder of why we need to have a very critical look at the media that we are consuming and understand not its biases, but the way it deliberately misrepresents information for interests, not bias. That's a very different thing. And when you understand that, you understand the mainstream media much better. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.